Welcome back, everyone, wherever you may be watching. This is Politics Today Live on Channels Television. The APC plan for the next dispensation, that is the second term of the Buhari government, they have tagged it the next level. So the vice president was in Lagos at the University of Lagos, where he gave a convocation lecture, and he was talking about what happened in the past, what the government has done, and what it plans to do in the next 4 years. The president did say earlier today, if I may quote him, he did say that the promise to do more. He said, thank you for supporting me. I assure you that I will do my best during the second term. We will work for Nigeria and her people. Those are the words of the president. I have a panel in our Abuja studio. Dr. Kach Ononuju is an economist and a member of the PDP, and also Mr. Ayo Yalowo, a former banker and a member of the APC. Both of them will be speaking on this matter tonight. Let me get back to Abuja with Mr. Oyalowo. He was speaking before we went on that break. Let me return you to that lane you were on where you were speaking about what happened and what is being done. Please go ahead.
Okay, like I was saying earlier on, we have been able to boost the returns for farmers. Loans have been cut to 9% for agricultural loans for farmers. And for the young ones, we have the end power that is being run for them, while the market money, trader money that was started, that was paused during the election, has resumed. And I can tell you on good authority, those who have returned the money, who have paid back, are getting, and they're getting more. So clearly, there is a plan for the lowest strata, a plan for the middle, and a plan for the high end. So this government is holistic. We are not just trying to enrich a few fat cats who will steal everything and leave 5.7 trillion in AMCOM. Rather, we are ensuring that even those people that have been forgotten, downtrodden, whom the PDP in 16 years never thought they were important, until now, they are now begging them to come back, are being taken care of, being catered for. And I can assure you, from this 87 million that we cut down from 112 million poor people, I can assure you in the next 4 years, it will even go down more drastically, because the business in agriculture has been expanded to go beyond just farming. You are looking at so many other layers, from fertilizer to other end-to-end value chain in the entire agricultural value chain. So we are looking at it holistically to ensure that the economy begins to get a boost. You remember the last figures that were released. Right now we are on 2.4 growth in terms of GDP growth. So for him to say economy is in perpetual depression, for the PDP it is true, because until they are able to steal and share among themselves, it is always a depression. They can't work to make money. They only steal from the treasury. And this is not going to happen under this administration. We will not allow anyone to steal from the treasury. Rather, anybody who can work hard will be rich, will make money, and will be comfortable. That is the plan of the Buhari government. That is the plan of the Oshibajo government. Both these men have shown Nigerians clearly that they didn't come into government to steal. Rather, they came in here to ensure that the mess of the years past were cleared, and the foundation for a solid economy and a bright future for Nigerians will be laid, so that subsequent government coming after them
Mr. Yalo,
will have a system that works.
Let me allow Mr. Ononuju to come in here. The CBN had cut interest rates to 13.5%, and looking at rebasing the GDP. For the first time at the MPR, they did something. There was a slight change in the policy. For a moment, if we take politics aside, you're an economist, you're an expert in that area. Do you see a direction, a positive one, that this government is embarking on? What are your assessment of what they have been doing so far, going into the next term?
Thank you. Rhetorics is one thing. I love to be led by the facts. One, my friend is talking about things getting well, yet we move from being home to the fastest growing middle class in Africa at an average growth of about 7.2, 7.5% to perpetually below 2%. That's why I called it an economic depression. The economy has been depressed since President Buhari came in and did not seek the input of experts who understand economic matters. I can tell you, all the rhetorics they are bandying about will come to nothing if you don't allow the private sector to drive economic growth. And that's where we have a problem. This government operates like a social government, a socialist government. It does not seem to believe in capitalism. This government doesn't believe in the competitive spirit of the free market system. It doesn't allow the private sector to drive economic growth. This is what we're going to. Never mind all the rhetorics they tell you. Since inside this government, no single privatization has occurred, telling you they really do not agree with the play of the private sector, which is what we try to do. You democratize the economy by a lump sum movement of the control of enterprises by government onto private hands. That's what we've done. And we said the same thing should be done to the political superstructure by a lump sum devolution of the powers in the hands of the government to the Federation Union being the states. This way, the government then would become an umpire, set proper perimeters and enabling environment for the private sector to grow. That's what we're saying. This government has not committed itself to allowing the private sector to drive economic growth in the past 4 years in Nigeria. This is fundamentally the main game. Not all these rhetorics, we've dashed some money. You go and dash money to 200 women, 10,000. Then you quote that you've shared 50 billion. That's just corruption. Don't listen to those talks. What has happened to the table line? What has happened to the food table? What about the poor? What is the bottom line like? All these rhetorics we hear, and yet the economy has been in perpetual depression since the past 4 years. This is what I'm saying. It's not rhetorics. Show us that thing translated into real benefits for the generality of the people of Nigeria. This is what we should be asking ourselves. This government does not know its left from its right. We need a rejig. We need to fundamentally agree that we will stay course with capitalism and with the play of the free market and the need for the private sector to drive economic growth. Not what we've seen in the past 4 years. We will go nowhere if this government does not change its psychological war against the markets, against the private sector, against the free markets.
Let me allow
in democracy, this government.
Okay, we are definitely out of time. So in the last few seconds we have, let me allow Mr. Yalawa to weigh in and react to some of the things that Dr. Onanuju has said there. Allowing the private sector to thrive, allowing the free market to flow freely, so the average man on the street can get the benefit of what the government is doing. Your reaction to some of the things that he raised there?
The theory of political economy and economic development stems from the slavery mode coming down to the capitalism that he's been exposing, but always forgetting that in capitalism, you always have people who believe in free market. You have those who believe in some form of government control. If capitalism was working as perfectly as he's exposing it now, why were we so down in the ease of doing business ranking? Talking about the fact that the poor have not been taken care of. Who said that? If we had 112 million people under poverty, when PDP had so much earnings, they were selling oil as high as $140. Today we have only 86 million, and it is being reduced gradually. Who has really helped free market? But you see, they come here, give you highfalutin sound, and the truth and the reality is that it has never worked under them, because look at everything they put their hands on. It always ended in flames. Even the business dealing we had between Nigeria and Virgin Atlantic ended up in disaster, because it was all about stealing, about looting. For the first time, we're going to be having a system where businesses will run. They will thrive without government. All government will do is make sure that there is ease of business.
Mr. Yalawa, we're out of time.
In that ranking. So I don't agree with him. I know that this government is doing well, and Nigeria will see the result in the next 4 years.
Mr. Yalawa, thank you so much for coming. A former banker and a member of the APC. Dr. Kach Onanuju is an economist and a member of the PDP. Thank you for your time, and your the debate seems quite interesting, and we see how the referees versus the not so conservative. Thank you so much for your time on the program today. Well, that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. Well, if you have your own views, whether welfareists or socialists or capitalists, let's get online and let's get the conversation going. I'm sure I'll keep my way. Bye-bye.